First, the USDA's Justice for All non-discriminatory statement, which simply states that all persons must be treated equally without regard to their race, color, national origin, sex, religious creed, disability, age, political beliefs, or reprisal or retaliation for prior civil rights activity, and that our institution provides an inclusive space for all. For more information on the And Justice for All statement, please visit the USDA's website.
My name is Ozzy Hernandez, and I'm a nutrition educator for Rutgers Cooperative Extension of Camden County's Department of Family and Community Health Sciences. And I want to welcome you back to our virtual Heart Smarts lessons. Our virtual Heart Smarts lessons are meant really for anyone that really goes to corner stores, any small store, bodegas, for either, it could be something simple like lunch during your workday, during school, or if it's just to pick up everyday things that you need at home. But remember, these tips are useful for any store that you go to, so it's not just limited to the smaller stores. Today's lesson is actually going to be about prepared food. So we're going to talk about the foods, things that you might buy at a deli on your lunch break, or even on the day, like when you're just passing by, you want a quick sandwich. So we're going to talk about prepared foods and how to make healthier choices in that category. So with prepared foods, I want to start off with a quick question. How often do you all buy prepared foods, or how often do you stop into your deli to get either a sandwich or a wrap? How often do you go in to get some breakfast, right? How often do you go in to pick up some cooked meals? So maybe you go to a bigger store. How often do you just buy some of the meals that they have prepackaged already? And then what are some of the healthy choices that you can make in terms of picking prepared meals? So if you're someone that stops into a sandwich, what are some choices that you can make to make sure that those meals are healthy and good for you? So I've shown this, and I usually have it behind me for all of our lessons. This is the diagram for my plate, and it's super important, especially with a conversation like this where we're talking about prepared meals, to think about my plate and think about the 5 parts of a healthy plate that you need to make sure that you're getting the nutrients that you need. So you have the 5 parts, which are fruits, vegetables, grains, proteins, and you can see it right there behind my head, you have dairy, right? So those are the 5 parts. And so why is that important to kind of think about in terms of prepared meals? Well, your prepared meals, things like sandwiches, can have, you can make that an entire meal with all the parts of my plate, but you also want to be careful with a couple of things. So just because it's got all of these parts doesn't necessarily mean that it's healthy. So what are ways that you can make sure that those meals are healthy choices? So first, if you're someone that goes in and you're buying sandwiches at delis or any other store, right, making sure that your grains is going to be a whole grain. So I have an example here where I have some whole wheat bread. So if you're someone that stops in and you get a sandwich asking for whole wheat bread, if you're more of a wrap person, you can actually go and ask to see if they have a whole wheat wrap. I have that example there. If you're someone that stops in for something a little bit heavier, maybe you get a rice dish and that's available at your corner store, seeing if they have brown rice available and asking for that, or maybe if they have like pasta, asking for brown whole wheat pasta. In terms of condiments, right? If you're someone that's getting wraps or sandwiches, asking for those things like ketchup, mayo, mustard, ask for them to the side. The really big thing here is that while even though you could have these veggies, you could have the whole grains, the condiments are going to add a lot of salt to your day. It's also going to end up adding a lot of fat as well, depending on what you put in. So what you want to do is you want to get those things to the side, right? Add it to yourself, control how much ketchup or mustard, whatever your condiment of choice is, asking that to the side so that we can control how much they're adding in, right? It's really important to realize that we're not telling you to stay away from those things. We just want to be careful with the salt and all of the other things that they're going to be adding on to make it a healthier choice. With your drinks, making sure that you are getting something without a lot of added sugar or without any added sugar if you're looking for that. So choosing unsweetened iced tea or water over sugar sweetened beverages. And if you're looking for something sweeter, remember, you could always go with 100% juice, right? You're always looking for that at the front or at the top of the nutrition label to make sure that there's no added sugar to it. So those are some options that you can have for a healthier beverage. When you're going for a snack, I know most people, they'll go into a store, they want to grab a bag of chips. So we're always encouraging you to grab fruit as a dessert. It's gonna give you something sweet, right? You're gonna get some fiber to it. So a lot of corner stores, you're gonna notice that they have like those grab and grow fruits. So you have like apples, bananas, things that you can just grab and eat on your way either to work, or you could hold on to it for a little bit and eat it during your day. That way you don't, that way you get something sweet and you get some fiber in as well. And then finally, the way you could definitely make it healthier is add veggies. So if you're someone that really goes into a deli and you're buying sandwiches a lot, outside of just getting the whole grains and adding the condiments to the side in your beverage, stack your sandwich with a whole bunch of veggies. So things like tomatoes, cucumbers, onions, some of the regular staples that a lot of delis will have. So make sure that you're stacking your sandwich. It's gonna make it a heavier sandwich. So you're gonna fill yourself up for a lot longer because of the fiber, but you're also getting your serving of veggies in your meal. With that, I want to go and introduce our recipe today. Pretty much, I'm actually just putting together a really simple sandwich, right? It's an avocado tomato sandwich. You're gonna notice I'm doing a little bit different here, and I'll go through the ingredients really quick. So I'm gonna start off with my bread, which I'm using the whole wheat bread, right? So I've got 2 slices here. Then I'm gonna go with our veggies. So I do have some tomato, right? And I have some avocado. You'll notice that the avocado isn't whole, right? And you'll know, if you've ever had your chance to deal with avocado, you'll notice, you've probably realized it's kind of annoying to spread onto a piece of toast. So what I did was I actually smashed it together, and I took the liberty to add a little bit of seasoning here. So I did some garlic, some onion powder as well. And I did add a little bit of salt. I didn't really add too much, and I'll explain to that why. Then I have some spinach, right? I always like to have a dark leafy green. Some corner stores won't have spinach available, but they will have lettuce, right? So definitely look to add that into your sandwich when you order them. And I do have a protein in here, even though the recipe does not have one. Again, play around with our recipes. You could always change it to what you want, but I am using some low sodium turkey breast, right? It's sliced, so it's right here. When you have the opportunity to go in and ask for a sandwich, if that's what you're looking for, make sure that you're asking for low sodium options. You want to make sure that you're staying away from adding too much salt into your day, which is why I only added just a little bit to the avocados, right? I added a little bit more lime juice to it rather than that to stay away from adding sodium. In terms of seasonings, I just have some pepper that I'm going to be adding in. And I do have one thing that I love to add into my sandwiches, which is vinegar. So I'll add some vinegar and oil a lot of times to my sandwich, right? A little bit easier on the oil just to stay away from having a lot of fat to it. And the vinegar is a way for me to give it some flavor, right? Without adding any more salt. Again, being careful with the salt. That's going to be super important to make sure that this meal, you know, while it has all the parts of my plate, I want to make sure that I'm staying away from adding too much salt, adding too much fat to it. So all I'm really going to do first is I'm going to put the annoying ingredient in first, and I'm using a butter knife for this. Just kind of scoop it in, right? And it's going to make it easier because it's mashed to kind of use it as a spread. So you'll notice that I don't have any oil here. And that's really because the avocado works as a really good paste, it gives us some moisture to the sandwich. So if you have the opportunity to add it into your sandwich when you go to a corner store, definitely feel free to do so. After that, I'm going to just kind of comprise it together with my turkey. And this is one serving. Remember, keep in mind, a lot of delis will have or will add a lot more than just one serving. So what I like to do is I might eat half of it and then have the fruit, have my drink, and save the rest for later, just to make sure that I'm being mindful of the portion that I'm eating. I'm going to then take my spinach, put it there, and finally I'm going to top it off with the tomato, a little bit of pepper, and then I'm only using just a little bit of vinegar. I don't want to make the bread too soggy, because then it just kind of ruins it. And that's it. Thank you all for being here. Goodbye.